In a dark scenario, a young man finds himself entangled in a colossal debt that surpasses his ability to pay. Desperate, he turns to gambling, vainly hoping to nullify the accumulated debt. However, this path only drags him into an even more sinister universe of servitude, where his own life becomes the only currency of value in high-stakes games played atop a renowned skyscraper. In command of this arena is Kaiji, an elderly man and president of a formidable financial corporation. In a meeting with his subordinates, he questions them about the essence of power in this complex world. The varied answers from the agents fail to satisfy him. Finally, a woman named Rinko intervenes, proclaiming that true power derives from money. Kaiji, however, disagrees, arguing that true power does not reside in the possession of money, but in the ability to use it wisely. Another man, Tonegawa, suggests building a clandestine empire using the available financial resources. This idea pleases Kaiji, who emphasizes that a true king must build a kingdom. Meanwhile, the young man named Kaiji, devoid of resources, scratches a lottery ticket dreaming of a prize of 100,000 yen, but his luck does not change. Working as a cashier in a supermarket, he returns home dejected and hopeless. On the way, his gaze crosses with that of a wealthy man strolling with his girlfriend, awakening a feeling of envy in Kaiji. Accused of inappropriately staring at the stranger's companion, Kaiji finds himself in an embarrassing situation. The conflict quickly escalates when he is nearly run over by the man's luxury car, triggering a contained fury in Kaiji against social inequalities. In a fit of rage, he starts kicking the luxurious cars he encounters along the way, until he ends up denting one of them. Men exit the damaged vehicle, and to his surprise, Rinko is one of the occupants. She reveals herself to be a loan shark and informs Kaiji that he is bound as a guarantor for a loan taken by a friend who has now disappeared. With a debt of 1 million yen hanging over his name and no clear memories of signing such a contract, Kaiji finds himself with no way out. Rinko is relentless, indifferent to Kaiji's attempts to negotiate his situation. She then presents him with a brutal alternative. He can participate in a game on a cruise ship departing in a few hours, where he will have the chance to pay off his debt through gambling. The cruise ship was named Espoir, a French term that translates to hope, but for Kaiji, the meaning of the word seems distant and uncertain. Questioning the type of games that will be held on board, he is confronted by Rinko's coldness, who belittles him, calling him a lazy 30-year-old with no life prospects. To her, Kaiji has no future left. Struck by the harsh reality of her words, Kaiji becomes emotional, crying as he recognizes the severity of his situation. However, Rinko presents this trip as an opportunity for redemption, a chance to turn the tide in his favor. Driven by a mixture of desperation and a spark of hope, he boards the Espoir, where he finds many other men in similar circumstances. Meanwhile, Rinko confirms to her subordinates that she has managed to board 10 men, meeting her target. On the ship, Tonegawa takes the floor and describes the rules of the game. Each participant will receive 3 stars, each valued at 1 million yen. The stars are lent at an interest rate of 1% per minute, a condition that only aggravates the player's indebtedness. Tonegawa intercedes, explaining that victory would not only clear their debts, but also allow them to buy back the stars at their original value. Tonegawa reveals that the game will be a version of rock, paper, scissors played with cards, where each defeat forces the loser to hand over a star to the winner. The game lasts 30 minutes, and at the end, those who possess at least 3 stars will be declared winners. The tension rises when one of the men questions what happens to the losers. Tonegawa responds harshly, reminding everyone that as losers in real life, they have no rights, and that the only way to gain value is by triumphing in that game. The participants nervously begin the game. Kaiji, in turn, acts cautiously. Quickly, a man loses all his stars and is dragged into a dark and mysterious room. In this tense atmosphere, Funai approaches Kaiji, suggesting a method to cheat the system. They should play against each other and deliberately draw, conserving their stars while exhausting the cards. However, while executing the plan, Funai betrays Kaiji, winning and claiming it was a mistake, promising to even things out in the next game. However, he wins again, revealing his true intention to deceive Kaiji from the beginning. At a critical moment in the game, both players have only 1 card in hand, but Funai has 5 stars, making him almost invincible, while Kaiji has only 1, leaving him at a disadvantage. In the tension of the moment, Kaiji cannot contain himself and punches Funai, staining his last scissors card with blood. The guards intervene, warning that any further aggression will result in his disqualification. As Kaiji ponders his next move, Funai tries to diminish him further, revealing to everyone that Kaiji only has scissors. In retaliation, Kaiji exposes that Funai only has rocks, making no one want to risk playing against a known cheater. The tension rises, and the players begin trying to peek at each other's cards, which quickly escalates into a general brawl. During the chaos, Kaiji notices the bloodstain on his scissors card and sees an opportunity. He observes an older man being beaten by the guards for trying to discard his cards, noting that the man still has a paper card. Funai, trying to regain some trust among the players, suggests that everyone shuffle their cards and redistribute them as before. Kaiji allies with the old man and promises to help him win. After the shuffling, Kaiji once again finds the blood-stained card in his hands. Funai, confident that he knows Kaiji's card, proposes one last game, where the stakes are high. Kaiji, knowing that Funai expects a scissors, accepts the challenge, betting not only his star, but also two of the old man's. At the crucial moment, Kaiji surprises Funai by revealing paper, winning the decisive game. Funai, shocked, discovers that Kaiji had cleaned the bloodstain from the scissors card and applied a new stain to the paper card. With this clever move, Kaiji secures 3 stars, 2 for the old man and 1 for himself. With only 30 seconds left, they quickly employ the strategy of deliberately drawing so that both can leave the game with enough stars. However, an unexpected twist occurs when they discover that the old man forgot a card in his pocket. Technically free, Kaiji, moved by loyalty, chooses to share the last card with the old man, but this gesture leads them straight to forced labor. Now part of a massive project to build Teiai's underground empire, both are constantly monitored and paid in Parika, a virtually worthless currency. Despite the adverse conditions, Kaiji tries to save as much as possible, though the temptation to spend his little money on beer is great among the workers. When the old man is injured working, Kaiji takes him to the hospital, only to face yet another harsh reality. Even medicine must be paid for. Kaiji begins to realize that this entire dynamic of work and payment in low-value currency is a strategy designed to keep them trapped in debt and, consequently, in slavery in this underground world. The reality becomes even grimmer when he discovers that those whose debt becomes unsustainable are sent to a terrifying place known as Brave Men's Road. There, they are offered one last chance to escape their harsh reality in a game of deadly risks. Tired of being a pawn in a cruel game, Kaiji volunteers for Brave Men's Road, and before leaving, gives a speech to the other workers, urging them to realize the scheme and seek a way to freedom. Upon reaching Brave Men's Road, Kaiji, the old man, and a few others are confronted with a terrifying challenge, crossing an extremely narrow bridge between 2 towering skyscrapers. If they succeed, each will receive 10 million yen, enough to clear their debts. Tonagawa, the supervisor, makes a derogatory comment, saying that since they never studied or worked hard enough, the only way to earn such an amount is by betting their worthless lives. To make matters worse, the game is broadcast live as entertainment for the elite. During the game, Rinko, watching the broadcast, sees Kaiji on the screen and becomes visibly disturbed by the cruelty of the spectacle. Additionally, it is revealed that the bridge is electrified, preventing them from crawling across. Kaiji, determined to save not only himself but also his companions, devises a balancing technique. He marks a line in the middle of each participant's shoes and instructs them to keep it aligned with the center of the bridge. The situation worsens as a storm approaches, heightening the panic among the players. The wind begins to blow strongly, causing many of them to lose their balance and fall to their deaths, to the horror of Rinko and the applause of the elite. In the end, only Kaiji, the old man, and a man named Makoto survive. With the rain intensifying, the old man, recognizing his limitations, gives up, handing Kaiji his 10 million Tei voucher with a final request, to pay off his daughter's debts when he escapes. Declaring his life a failure, he jumps off the bridge before Kaiji can convince him otherwise. Makoto and Kaiji, now the only survivors, finally reach the other side. However, when Makoto opens the exit door, a sudden gust of wind caused by the pressure difference blows him out of the building, revealing yet another of Tonagawa's cruel tricks. For providing such a spectacle, Tonegawa is rewarded by the president with A-class citizenship in his kingdom, a reward for his relentless manipulation and entertainment. Outraged by the trivialization of human life as mere entertainment, Kaiji confronts Tonegawa and demands the full payment of the 20 million he was supposed to receive. Tonegawa, however, coldly informs him that 9.5 million of his earnings would be automatically allocated to pay off his own debt and that he had no right to redeem the old man's voucher. Indignant, Kaiji defends the old man, stating that he proved to be a much more honorable person than Tonegawa by thinking of others even in his last moments of life. Impressed by Kaiji's courage and speech, the president decides to give him an opportunity to win Tonegawa's money through a game. The rules are simple. 2 decks are used, one of Emperor and one of Slave. Each deck contains 5 cards, 4 citizens and 1 Emperor or 1 slave. The citizen card beats the slave card, the Emperor card beats the citizen card, but the slave card beats the Emperor card. Due to the natural disadvantage of the slave deck, the winnings for a victory are 10 times greater. Kaiji, betting the 500,000 yen he still has, opts for the slave deck. He loses the first match, and the president, not entirely satisfied with the loss, offers Kaiji another 400,000 yen for a second chance, with the condition that if he loses, Kaiji will permanently return to underground labor. During the match, Kaiji realizes that Tonegawa doesn't need to look at him to know his reactions, deducing that his opponent uses data from the microchip implanted in his shoulder to predict his moves. Kaiji loses again and is taken back underground, but not before formulating a plan. He seeks out Rinko, exploits her resentment against Tonegawa, and convinces her to lend him 50 million yen for a final challenge. The president, seeing Kaiji's determination, accepts the proposal for the new game. Before the match, Kaiji strikes his own head, aiming to alter his vital signs and render the microchip's readings useless. With Tonegawa now unable to predict his moves, the game proceeds without manipulation. The supervisor, accustomed to having control, becomes visibly nervous, fearing the president's reaction if he loses. The first 3 rounds end in a draw, increasing the tension. In the final round, Tonegawa, seeing blood on Kaiji's card, assumes that he is resorting to the same trick as before. However, when Kaiji reveals his card, it becomes clear that there was no trick. It was just a clean, straightforward play. Kaiji strategically took advantage of Tonegawa's arrogance, who, certain of his superiority, presumed that Kaiji would resort to the same trick as before. Kaiji's victory not only surprised Tonegawa, but also the president, who, irritated by the defeat, condemned Tonegawa to a life of underground labor, the same fate he had imposed on many others. As a result of his bold bet, Kaiji won an impressive 500 million yen, as the returns from the slave deck were 10 times the bet amount. With this newly acquired fortune, Kaiji decided to celebrate the moment by dining with Rinko. However, during the meal, an unexpected twist occurred. Rinko, subtly manipulating the situation, mixed something into Kaiji's beer, causing him to pass out quickly. Upon awakening, Kaiji found a letter from Rinko, revealing that she had not only recovered the 50 million she had lent him, but also taken an additional amount as interest, leaving him with only 400,000 yen. In her final words, Rinko expressed her admiration for Kaiji's passion and indomitable spirit, and stated her belief that he would find success again before disappearing to start a new life away from Tei. In a final act of generosity, Kaiji chose not to keep the remaining money for himself. Instead, he gave everything, the 400,000 yen and the Tei voucher worth 10 million, to Yasuda, the old man's daughter, thus ensuring a better future for her. He did this as a tribute to the nobility of the old man, who sacrificed his own life thinking of others. Kaiji, now with empty pockets but a heart full of hope, walked back to the crowd. He is ready to face any future challenges, seeking the next game that will bring significant changes to his life. Thus, the film ends,